In a world where gods rewrite reality, magic bends physics, and Daedric princes shape entire planes of existence, Spellbreaker stands out for one simple reason: it says no. Spellbreaker does not burn enemies, corrupt souls, or bend minds. It doesn't dominate the battlefield with spectacle. Instead, Spellbreaker blocks magic itself. And that alone makes it one of the most quietly terrifying artifacts in all of Elder Scrolls. Hello everyone, and welcome to the video where we are back still talking more of the Elder Scrolls lore, specifically, as you guessed, Spellbreaker. So today we're exploring a bunch of lore surrounding Spellbreaker, where it comes from, which god claims it, and why it looks more Dwemer than Daedric, and most importantly, what it actually might be capable of. Along the way, we'll break down fan theories, hidden implications, and why Spellbreaker may represent something the gods fear more than swords or spells: defiance. What is Spellbreaker? Well, Spellbreaker is a Daedric artifact that is associated with Peryite, the Daedric prince of pestilence, decay, and the natural order. In-game, Spellbreaker is a shield that projects a magical ward capable of blocking hostile spells, often more effectively than spells cast by trained mages themselves. But lore-wise, Spellbreaker isn't just a shield, it's a concept, a rejection of uncontrolled magic, a counterbalance to arcane excess, a reminder that even magic must obey rules. And that's where things get interesting. So let's just have a look at Peryite, because are they just an unlikely owner? Well, Peryite is not what most people expect from a Daedric prince. He isn't dramatic like Mehrunes Dagon, he isn't seductive like Molag Bal, he isn't even mysterious like Hermaeus Mora. Peryite governs natural order, specifically how decay, disease, and death keep existence from spiraling into chaos. In other words, Peryite is a regulator, and Spellbreaker fits this theme perfectly. Where other Daedric artifacts empower excess, more power, more destruction, more control, Spellbreaker does the opposite. It limits, it blocks magic from rewriting reality too freely. To Peryite, magic unchecked is just another form of disease. So it does have an interesting appearance, because yes, Spellbreaker does look very Dwemer. So one of the biggest questions surrounding Spellbreaker, as I've said, is its design. Unlike most Daedric artifacts, Spellbreaker does not resemble Oblivion forged metal or living Daedra flesh. Instead, it does look mechanical, angular, and brass-like. So yeah, Dwemer. This does immediately raise red flags in Elder Scrolls lore, because the Dwemer were obsessed with logic, mathematics, and control over reality. The Dwemer didn't worship traditional gods, they tried to out-engineer them. Dwemer technology frequently interfered with magic, ethereal flow, and even divine constructs, most notably the Numidium. Spellbreaker's design suggests it may have originated as a Dwemer construct or prototype, later claimed, modified, or blessed by Peryite. This theory gains traction where we consider what Spellbreaker actually does, because it doesn't absorb magic like a Daedric sponge. It doesn't reflect it theatrically, it simply nullifies it. That's very un-Daedric and very Dwemer. So let's have a look. Spellbreaker in the Elder Scrolls history. So this shield has appeared in many other games. It's been in Arena, Daggerfall, Morrowind, Oblivion, and in Skyrim. In nearly every appearance, its function, it remains consistent. A shield that wards against hostile magic far beyond what mortals should easily achieve. Importantly, Spellbreaker is rarely associated with conquest or domination, instead it's often given to mortals who restore balance. In Skyrim, the Dragonborn acquires Spellbreaker by aiding Peryite in cleansing a corrupted Dwemer ruin, a symbolic act of restoring order to a place where systems broke down. That detail does matter. So let's look at the shield as if it's a symbol. Spellbreaker isn't aggressive. It does not attack, it defends. In Elder Scrolls metaphysics, defense is simply symbolic. Magic represents change, change represents chaos, and chaos threatens structure. Spellbreaker exists to preserve structure. Some scholars interpret Spellbreaker as a metaphysical barrier, not just against spells, but against unacceptable outcomes. Let's take a look at the first fan theory I have here, and it's that Spellbreaker as an anti-Aedra artifact. So a popular fan theory suggests that Spellbreaker wasn't designed to fight mortals at all. It was designed to fight gods, specifically Aedra magic. the kind that shapes Mundus itself. The Aedra sacrifice parts of themselves to create the mortal plane. Their magic is foundational, baked into reality. Spellbreaker's ability to block magic so completely implies it interferes with the flow of magicka at a structural level, not just spellcasting. If scaled up, Spellbreaker could theoretically resist divine manifestations, reality-altering rituals, and god-level spellcraft. In other words, Spellbreaker might represent a failsafe against divine overreach, something Peryite, as the Prince of Order through decay, would absolutely support. So moving on to another fan theory, it says Spellbreaker and the Dwemer disappearance. So this theory connects Spellbreaker directly to the disappearance of the Dwemer. The Dwemer attempted to transcend gods via the Numidium, using tonal architecture to rewrite existence. Spellbreaker was an early experiment, a prototype anti-magical field designed to negate divine influence. If so, Spellbreaker may represent the Dwemer's first successful step in resisting gods, before their final catastrophic leap erased them from reality. Peryite may have claimed Spellbreaker after the Dwemer vanished, seeing it as a perfect embodiment of controlled negation, not destruction, correction. So this next theory says that Spellbreaker is not Daedric at all. You could say this is one of the spiciest theories, because some fans believe Spellbreaker is misclassified, that it isn't truly Daedric, but a mortal artifact that Peryite merely endorses. Unlike most Daedric artifacts, Spellbreaker doesn't seem sentient, it doesn't whisper, it doesn't corrupt, it's wielder. It simply performs its function. That's deeply uncharacteristic of Daedric creations. This raises the possibility that Spellbreaker represents something extremely rare in Elder Scrolls lore, a neutral artifact, one that even Daedra respect but did not create. There is a cruel irony baked into Spellbreaker's existence, is that Peryite, a Daedric prince, uses an artifact that blocks the very forces that allow the Daedra to manifest powerfully in the mortal realm. In a sense, Spellbreaker can be turned against its own patron. That suggests Peryite values order more than dominance, a Daedric prince who would rather see rules obeyed, even at his own expense. So let's have a look at Spellbreaker versus other Daedric artifacts. So compared to Spellbreaker, Mehrunes Razor, instant death. Dawnbreaker, holy destruction. Wabberjack, it says pure chaos, but it's pure fun, let's be honest, it's pure fun. Spellbreaker stands apart from these, because it doesn't alter fate, it doesn't twist minds, and it doesn't impose will. It simply refuses to allow magic to operate freely. That makes it arguably far more dangerous than any weapon, because it threatens the foundation of power in Tamriel. So at its core, Spellbreaker represents a terrifying idea in the Elder Scrolls lore, that magic is not absolute, that gods are not untouchable, that reality can push back. In a universe defined by mythic inevitability, Spellbreaker says, no, that spell does not work here. And that might be the most powerful statement of all. So in conclusion, Spellbreaker will never get the flashy representation of swords that kill gods or staffs that wrap reality. But lore-wise, it might be one of the most important artifacts ever forged. A shield born of logic, claimed by order and feared by chaos. Not because it destroys, but because it denies, and in a world built on magic, denial is everything. Thanks for watching.